Hey everyone, Gill Gross here post-match. Tommy Paul versus Ben Shelton, Australian Open 2023 quarterfinal. If you're not here for spoilers, click off the video in 3, 2, 1. Tommy Paul makes his first major semifinal and wins this battle of Americans in 4 sets, becoming the first man from the United States to reach the Australian Open semifinal since Andy Roddick in 2009. So impressed with this performance by Tommy because it just simply didn't look like a guy playing the biggest match of his life. He did not have those ups and downs in his level. It was extremely steady. The emotions are almost at a zero through the good and the bad. You know, it almost just stays completely flatline, which I think really helps him. You know, maybe we can find scenarios where it hurts him, but when you're in the biggest match of your life, more than likely that kind of just, okay, we're going to stay calm here, it's usually going to help you. And I thought it really helped Tommy in this one. And, you know, we look back at the performance as a whole in terms of what it was on the tennis court, what it translated into, just the cleanest of clean performances, so buttoned up. He played 2 bad service games, I would say, throughout the entire match, but other than that, it just felt like the mistakes were so few and far between for Tommy Paul. He makes 26 unforced errors in this match. You divide that by 4, it's 6.5 unforced errors per set. It's remarkably low. And against Ben Shelton, it's really going to go after his shots and, you know, just can't match that consistency. Certainly can't match that shot tolerance. And that's why in this match you saw Tommy Paul dominate the lengthy rallies. 5 through 8 shots were 19 to... Wait, why are these numbers so low? Oh, that's because I'm looking at Tommy Paul serving. Okay. 5 through 8 shot rallies were 42 to 29 for Paul. 9+ rallies were 19 to 6 Paul. In the 0 through 4 with Shelton serve, he hung in there and was just as good. It was 92 to 91. So you saw Paul's shot tolerance really make a huge difference. And I felt the weak link in the rallies was the Shelton backhand. And Paul did a tremendous job of moving the ball around the court to execute what is so important when you're playing an opponent like Shelton, which is to keep the forehand out of play, which means when you go to the forehand side of the court, make sure you do it with quality. If not, you go to the backhand side. And I felt both cross courts were really favoring Paul. Obviously, Paul hooking his forehand cross court into the Shelton backhand. The best way to look at that is the first set in the tiebreak, where that was a really tight first set, very tight. And even in the tiebreak, almost every single point was going to the server. At the end of the tiebreak, Tommy Paul just hit 2 forehand trades, hooked cross court to Shelton's backhand, and Shelton missed 2 backhand trades where his very flat and low backhand, which never really has that much net clearance, just hit the tape twice in a row. And that was the first set right there. On the other cross court, Shelton's cross-court forehand, which is going to be a lot for righty backhands to handle because it's got a lot of weight of shot to it. But Paul's better ground stroke is his backhand. And you felt that Paul, with how solid that side was, it just was not going to break down under any circumstance. Coverage of the Australian Open is brought to you by BetUS. For this year's AO, play with America's favorite sportsbook. And with the link in the description, the promo code GIL, get $125 extra on your first deposit. Another key to this one was Paul's backhand return. So Abigail Johnson on Monday Match Analysis was like, hey, these second serve numbers for Shelton in the tournament are insane. 70%, over 70% on average throughout the tournament. You could see why. Just watching this match alone. That Shelton second serve averages 106 miles per hour with kick. That's the most insane part. We do see some very fast second serves on tour, but most of them are slice second serves. Shelton is a kick serve, a true kick serve that averages close to 107 miles per hour, is really 106 and a half. So that's absolutely phenomenal. And a lot of righty backhands are going to have a lot of difficulty with that. But Paul's backhand return, elite, really as good as it gets, especially against the kick serve, because what's so good about Tommy's backhand return is how good a job he does taking it early on the rise. So we see him against players like Dominic Thiem, players like Matteo Berrettini. In these kinds of matchups, he just handles great kick serves with ease, which is tough for Ben Shelton, who was kind of building an advantage there on a regular basis. And then kind of behind the return of serve, which he was making more returns in play than I think Shelton was used to. And Shelton did not have a good first serve percentage either. So there were more returns in play coming. Behind that, Tommy Paul could use his court coverage and his athleticism to his advantage. And kind of get back into rallies, make things tough on Shelton, extend. It really was a comprehensive performance from the baseline for Paul as a result of that. You know, when you combine the consistency and the speed, it's so tough to win points. He's asking so much of Shelton. And Shelton is up for it oftentimes with the firepower that he brings off of his serve and his forehand, but not consistent enough. You know, it was there, but every single game throughout a set, is it going to continue to be there? No. You know, you're just going to have those service games where Paul finds the unforced errors, unlocks the unforced errors is I think the word I want to use, because those freebies don't come unless you are returning his serve effectively, unless you are defending effectively, playing his backhand effectively. Those unforced errors don't come unless you do those things. So unlocking the unforced errors, it's a two-way street, so to speak. That's pretty much all I got on Tommy Paul's advantage in this match. Great serving by Tommy, I'll say. 23 for 28 at net. That's been a huge thing that Brad Stein and him have just honed in on and really improved. Is, all right, we don't have that much baseline power, so how do we find our offense? We find our offense by using the athleticism to move inside the court, take time away, hit precise approach shots, and finish at net. That is how we find offensive tennis. But the key in this match was not so much the offensive tennis, even though it was good. It was really rock solid from neutral, no mistakes, find that backhand. The Shelton backhand is the weak link in the rallies, and obviously the speed is going to be a factor as well to steal a couple of points. Ben Shelton is totally on his way. I want to throw that out there. I am incredibly high on him. As far as lefty serves are concerned, I mean, I think this serve is going to be a top 5 serve in men's tennis. It's probably not quite there yet, but just about there. And you look at lefties with serves that good, man, that list is short. Man, it's short. Ivanisevic, obviously. I won't go earlier than early 2000s, because I'll just go kind of modern era. I suppose. I know Ivanisevic, most of his career was in the 90s, actually, so I'm going to get slammed for that. But I won't go too much earlier than that. Feli Lopez, Gilles Mueller was a really great serving lefty, but then you look at the athletic baseline play that Shelton brings and the forehand. So Shelton is an athlete, right? We've seen guys who move well for their size. Zverev, Medvedev, Hubert Hurkacz. None of them really have the power baseline game. None of them have the frames for a power baseline game. Zverev is almost approaches that, but let's be honest, the forehand, the transition game, nowhere near where Ben Shelton's is at. Like, Shelton's forehand is much more commanding from the middle of the court than Zverev. So he backs up that serve better than those guys, and he has a lot of extra weight on him. Is he quite as fast? Not quite, but I think he's close enough where it's a pretty impressive athletic package there. The way he moves his weight around, man, there's a lot to like. Also, personality-wise, I think he's going to be loved. Just a side note, I won't go further than that, but as a personality, the guy, I'm pretty sure people are going to absolutely adore this guy as much as they, hear him talk and get to know him. We'll see. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.